Hey everyone, and welcome back to another CZN video. So in today's video, guys, I wanted to go over Beryl, which I think is the best 4-star damage dealer out there. I used her to get up to 0 System 10. She was like my main kind of carry. I'm super impressed with her. I think she's a very strong character, especially if you didn't, end up going for like Haru or going all in on her or anything like that. I think she's super strong. She's also a justice element character, which means she's going to be pretty useful in like the Judas fights and things like that. But I figured we'd talk about her here because I just use her so much. So the first thing that I do want to go through is the Manifest Ego. I think this helps go through the cards a little bit more, understanding the buffs that she gets. When it comes to the 4-star characters, on the 3rd and 5th copies of the character, this is just increases to your potential, which are helpful. That saves you some resources and energy, but also it greatly increases the amount of damage that some of your cards do on your 4-stars. So these should not be ignored. So her first Manifest Ego reduces the cost of Heavy Weapon Specialist by 1. This is usually a 1-cost card, but with this Manifest Ego, it actually goes down to 0, which is pretty cool. And it's one of her better skill cards. Her second Manifest Ego or copy of her is really good. Beryl's retain card damage is increased by plus 20%. Beryl's all about retaining her cards to get additional bonuses and boosts to her damage, and this furthers it even more, so very, very strong. The fourth one is the damage of max output charged shot is increased by 50%, so her ego skill, so this is increased by an additional 50%. It is what it is, like this is just a raw damage AoE. The nice thing is it's a very high multiplier, but it's only really going to be good in multiple wave, nodes. And then her 6th copy is quite strong. Whenever a card is retained, she gains 1 condense, and when her attack cards are used, she gets 50% additional damage for each condense. So this can stack up to 150% additional damage. The thing that I don't like with this game still is the wording. This says extra damage. I don't think it's extra damage. I think it's additional damage. The reason why I say that is because extra damage is a different damage multiplier, where additional damage is just like an additional adder onto your damage. So I believe this is just 150% extra damage on top of an attack card that you use. So when it comes to her cards, the 3 basic skills, as I say multiple times when going through characters, the 3rd slot card is the card that you're most likely getting rid of. The first card here, just the basic launcher, I think is okay to keep, but it's also reasonable to get rid of as well. Just because for a low multiplier like this, it's really not going to be used very often. The 2-cost card, though, because Beryl has retain on her cards, and she also has ways to reduce the cost of them, there's going to be times where you're looking for AP to spend. So to spend it on a high multiplier basic card, I think is serviceable. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with doing that. So I tend to like this card. All right, now let's talk about her first Epiphany card. So Opening Found has 148% multiplier, but then it also has a retain effect, meaning that it's not discarded if you don't use it that turn. And if you retained it, the next turn, it will add 1 additional hit. So very, very strong. Just increasing the damage by 2 is really nice. So it's a good basic card to have. So your first option here is just a higher multiplier, same effect. The second one is changing the cost to 0, but you are going to have reduced damage on this. This can be good, though. If you are running her as like a draw engine and like as a support DPS, this can be a decent option. Because as a sub DPS, if your sub DPS doesn't cost you any AP and you can just use their cards whenever, it's a really nice option to pair even with someone like Rin, where Rin needs to trigger all of her cards at one time. You could start off by using Beryl and all of her cards for 0 cost, and then start triggering things with Rin. Or just in any instance like that where you have a high AP kind of damage dealer and you're using Beryl as a draw engine along with a little bit of sub DPS. That's where this epiphany would be quite good. This one is 125% damage, but you add 2 hits. So this can be pretty good too. So just you're getting rewarded the more times that you hold the retain. This one is 182% damage, but 60% damage amount. Now, this doesn't say for like 1 turn or anything, so it should stack, which is like your best bang for your buck, but you do need to wait it out. So, it just depends. You know, if you're using other characters that have a bit of utility and you can chain them off for like 2 or 3 turns while ramping up to this, and then just have like one huge smack while looking for your other combo cards, this could be a really awesome option. And then the last one is quite interesting because it's an upgrade card where all the other ones were attack. And the wording here is weird. But if you own a retain card, it's 150% extra attack damage to random enemies. Now, this is where the extra attack multiplier, I think, does come in. So if you're going for this epiphany, you do need to look for extra attack damage on your memory fragments. So I've seen some kind of meme builds with this where you use the upgrade card and you just retain all of your cards and just pip off damage, which I don't even know if it's a meme. It might be a legit strategy. I've just never gone this route. So a couple different opportunities there. So her first epiphany card is Charged Shot, where you have 228 damage, and then if you retain it, it's an increase of 80% damage. And again, not for 1 turn, so it stacks. Here, higher multiplier with higher retain damage, so this is a crazy epiphany. This is 228 damage plus a combo of 100% damage amount. So the combo activates if the card used immediately before this has the same attribute. So, attribute, I don't know if it is blue or if it's another attack card. Sometimes stuff in this game tends to be a little confusing, but it's going to be either one of those, either an attack card, which could make sense, or the attribute of the character. That makes less sense. Because I think it's element. So I would go with, if you used another attack card, you get 300% damage, and this card gets the additional 100% combo, and it's reduced to a AP of 1. This isn't like, what is that? Gear Bag or whatever, where Gear Bag activates. If the card used immediately before this has that attribute, then you gain this effect. It does not activate for free. So combo can mean a bunch of different things depending on the card. So you do have to go in and read the combo kind of description. So this one is the one I tend to pick a lot. 513% damage, and if you retain it, it decreases the cost by 1 until it is used. Now, even at a 2-cost card, 500% damage is quite good, and you're just holding it for 1 turn. And then, you know, obviously, if you get down to like 1 or 0, it's absolutely insane. But the other thing you have to remember is if you're picking a card like this and you're retaining it for 3 turns, your multiplier is going to be higher, but you have more utility in your AP utilization. So something to think about there. So here you see the additional 160% damage. So this goes up to a 500% multiplier for a 2 AP cost. You have to retain it once. So I still think that this card is obviously better, right? It's a higher multiplier, and you just have more upside. I don't know when you would use something like this because it's a max of one time. There's just no point. And then this one is multiple hitter with additional damage amount as an additive. So this can get up there very high, but it's similar in the same vein as this charge shot, where you're really going to be holding it for like 3 turns to maximize its utility, but you're just going off on like one big turn. I still like this one the most. It just has the most utility because you can use it after one turn, and then any other turn after that, it's kind of an AP game at that point. Now, guilty pleasure is what makes her a very interesting choice outside of like a main DPS. Copying this card is absolutely insane, and I don't know if people have been keeping up with the meta and things like that, but apparently what people have been doing is they've been removing all cards in people's deck and then using a character like Beryl or something like that just to draw into your combo pieces for, your Yukis, your Rins, your Renoas, like these characters that need individual pieces to really pop off. So what you could technically do is remove like every single card from Beryl's kit and then just have as many guilty pleasures as you could possibly put in there, and then use her just for some AoE and the card draw. The benefit to that is you don't have to remove all of the cards in her deck, so it's easier to accomplish than removing all cards in a character's deck, because this has exhaust. You're not going to draw it again. It's also 0 AP cost, and you're just drawing 3, so it's like free, right? So great choice for that kind of strategy as well. So baseline, just draw 3 for 0, pretty good. When it comes to the epiphanies, like draw 3 plus 1 morale, sign me up. Draw 3, decrease cost of one random card in your one random card of this unit in hand by 1. This one's okay. I prefer the 1 morale over that. This one, draw 3 at the start of the next turn, draw 2. Like, this one's insane. 5 cards for 0 AP cost. I honestly don't even know like how they came up with this card. It's absolutely busted. This one is draw 1 and then activate retain effect of all cards in hand. This one's pretty fun. But I would still say that I think drawing multiples is still a better bet for guilty pleasure. And then this one is draw 3, but you have an exhaust of 2. So it's not just a one-time use. I honestly think most of these are quite good, although I will say the ones on the outside and the middle are most generally useful. I'm sure you have some really cool, unique things that you can do with option 2 and 4. But if it were me, I'd be going with the one in the middle or the one on the left, and then the one on the right is an okay third pick. All right, unlimited firepower. So you get a shield and then plus, so an additive damage multiplier of the next attack card used. So this can be quite useful on this charged shot ability with this epiphany, where you get the multiple hitter and you get that 80% damage multiplier additive on top of that. So that's, what is that? 217 times 2. And if you retain that for like one turn, this is like smacking. It's doing a crap ton of damage. So something to think about there. But the shield aspect is basically useless. So you get a bigger shield, but then you get a bigger damage multiplier. Again, additive, so that's interesting. This one is for one turn, 80% attack card damage. This one I really like because, again, most of your cards have retain in them. So you can just wait with your retain cards until you drew the unlimited firepower, and then they are just doing crazy amounts of damage that turn. This one is 160% additive multiplier of the next card used that she owns And if you're using her as your main DPS, this is like, it's just reading like this card, except you remove the shield aspect, and now you're adding just an additional damage multiplier. So pretty good there. This is 80% damage of the next attack card. So this plays into her more as a support character because this affects any of your other characters as well. And with a higher shield, if you're using Beryl as a support character, then your shields become a little bit more relevant. You don't need to build her as a DPS. You can just build her as a drawer and then using her as someone who's shielding and increasing the attack damage of your other main DPS. So niche uses here, but still an option. And then last but not least is a upgrade card where it increases the damage amount of attack cards of this unit by 30%. So you don't need to time anything. You just use the upgrade card, and then anytime you're using any of her attack cards, you're getting a multiplicative increase in damage. Now, the multiplicative damage increase is going to be very relevant on cards like Charge Launcher. It's going to be really relevant on opening Found, especially if you're going with like the higher damage multipliers, because you're timesing that by 30. Same thing here with Charge Shot. If you're going with a 500% damage multiplier and then timesing it by 30, it's going to be insane damage. So that's 513 times an additional 30%. That's another 150% multiplier on top of those cards. And again, it's an upgrade. So you use it once and you get that for the rest of the fight. So I have chosen this one a lot, mainly because I tend to lean towards that high damage multiplier and just wait up for the perfect turn by retaining my cards the entire time. And remember, we talked about her being Manifest Ego 6, which means she gets even additional multipliers on top with this condense ability. So things spiral out of control. In regards to her partners, I am using just this 3-star partner because my Veronica is using Rosaria, and I do not have the other Ranger partner. Now, this is where the partner kind of descriptions are a little bit weird, because if you go to the Ranger partners here, increase damage amount of the assigned combatant's extra amount by 10%. That makes no sense. What I think this means is just additional damage that she might do is increased by 10% pertaining to retain cards, because it does not say extra attack amount, where if you see it in other partners, right? Increased damage amount of the assigned combatant. Oh, no, this one's the same as well. Where's the other one? Marin. The extra attack damage. So, that's the correct wording, where Rosaria and Daisy do not have good wording. So, I think the best partner for her is someone like Solia, just because she gives plus 10% attack card damage. She also does damage with Mark 1. But, none of the Ranger partners tend to scream like they're really good for Beryl, right? So, next up is the current save data that I have on her. Not great, but I do have a couple, neutral cards that I do want to talk about. I think Rotten Ripper is pretty interesting. Increases the action count by 3. This is because of an epiphany, and it also has haste. So it doesn't reduce the action count of the boss, and then it increases it by 3. With an okay damage multiplier, 182% for a 1-cost card is pretty good. This is most relevant on Judas, because you want to increase his action count to get in as many attacks as possible. And because, we have some of these retain cards in here, you're going to be chaining off a lot of attacks. You'll also see that I have that Charge Shot ability in here, where it decreases the cost by 1, so that really high damage multiplier. I wasn't able to copy Guilty Pleasure, I do have some epiphanies on the unlimited firepower where it's just like increase damage. So tons of room for improvement with my Beryl, but at the same time, she's still quite good. When you draw a card, 20% damage for an additional turn. When an ally inflicts ravage, you get shield. This one's whatever. And then X applied. This also has no relevance here. So this is like my best run, and it's still not even anywhere near the potential of Beryl. So I have some minor upgrades here. This is just from her potential, but I did increase her crit damage and her critical chance, mainly because I need to start working up to this crit damage, increasing the charged shot damage by an additional 10%. So you want to build her more in crit damage, but I need to get over a 200% threshold, which is going to be pretty tough. Where when it comes to your memory fragments, you tend to go for the crit chance just to make sure that your damage is getting there, but crit is so hard to achieve in this game. It's nuts. But that's kind of what I have to work with here. I also have her injustice damage, which is her element. And then I have attack percentage down here. So a little bit of crit chance, not really the best memory fragments either. Some crit chance here, a little bit of attack here and there. Here we have extra damage. Again, like I don't think this does anything for her outside of that one upgrade card where if you retain her card, she does that 150% damage, but I'm not utilizing it. But I do have her on a 2-piece attack set, 2-piece crit damage set, and then a 2-piece increased damage of and your shield and healing of basic cards. So her 2-cost, charge launcher and her 1-cost launcher will do additional damage. So yeah, that's kind of how I've used Beryl. We'll go in and we'll just show her off in one of these little simulations. Maybe we'll just do a blue potential run. You can run her alongside of Veronica. Veronica can be used anywhere. You can also run her alongside Luke, Lucas. She's really good with like characters like Maribel, Magna, Khalip, characters that just really keep you tanky, where you can retain most of the cards for Beryl and then just chain off whenever you want to. So we'll throw in Khalip and we'll just walk through here. So at the top, this is where her condense is kind of saved. She does have maneuvering fire as well. So here's Ripper increasing the turn count by 3. This is, again, really good against Judas. She's got a little bit of AoE in here with maneuvering fire. I think great neutral card because all of her other cards are kind of single target. So pretty useful. We haven't drawn any of her actual retain cards yet. Heavy Weapon Specialist does pull one from the deck. So charged shot here is 248% damage plus retain of 80%. So we'll just hold on to that card and wait to use it whenever we want. We're just stacking up our shield, kind of surviving. You'd have the same line of attack in Chaos or against Judas. So here we're at 308% damage now. So if we wanted to, we could use this card to increase that by an additional 80%, but we're kind of just going to use some random cards here. We'll get off the gear bag from the Mika, and let's just use, a heal card here, and we'll just use that to use it. So we did draw some more retain cards. So as you see, the charge shot, we just we keep going up. So the longer we hold this thing, the more damage it's going to do, and we're just going to kind of pop off. So we're chaining off all of these other things with like Khalip, which is pretty fun. We can use one of these if we wanted to. I kind of just want to show you this thing charging up even more because it's fun. So, like, this is what you would do against Judas, is you would just hold all of these cards until you actually got to Judas, because you want to be able to break the shield. So here, let's just go in and like do crazy amounts of damage. This is where we're going in, we're breaking the shield, and yeah, kind of just decimating this poor guy. And this is where I was saying, like, keeping this charge shot in hand is pretty nice, or in your deck, because then you can use the opening found cards at a later time whenever it makes the most sense. So we'll just pull in another retain card here, put up a big shield, put up more shield, and you see the condense is kind of piling up here too. So not only have we held some really strong cards, but at the same time, we've built up some condense. So here's our additional hit. Fun stuff. Rotten Ripper. We're just chaining off. We'll use Mika's ability here. Hold our opening founds. Build up our condense. Each retain card that you hold gives you a stack of condense as well, by the way. All right, so we'll increase the damage here. We're taking out all of the shield, 889 on each hit. Pretty good. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of like Beryl in a nutshell. Just holding your cards, letting them build up in damage multipliers. Again, you can kind of like use more utility with Ray if you wanted to bring in Ray. If like your whole thing is just utilizing the one cost charge shots, these cards right here are opening found. As a cost of 1, Ray increases the damage amount of 1 cost cards. So the more you're retaining them and holding them, you're increasing the hit amounts and stuff like that. Yeah, Beryl can just really spiral out of control. So yeah, that's Beryl, guys. Just wanted to showcase her a little bit, talk about some of the best epiphanies and things like that. And appreciate you watching. Catch you on the next one. See ya.